I think that's a perfect
Yeah.
segue.
Yeah.
Because I know you had some more thoughts about this whole idea of personal agency
I do.
and how it applies to navigating, the complexities of
Yeah.
cultural exchange and appropriation.
Well, it really got me thinking about how this idea of personal agency could be applied more broad. If we can choose how we react to these potentially offensive situations, could we also choose how we engage with other cultures?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like, could we approach these interactions with a mindset of curiosity and respect rather than fear and judgment?
That's a good point. So it's like instead of focusing on what's allowed and what's forbidden,
Exactly.
we could focus
Like
on
more about like the approach.
Exactly. It's more about how we engage. Yeah. Rather than like yeah, that's interesting.
So like a more nuanced and empathetic way of interacting with different cultures.
I like that.
Yeah.
But before we totally get on board with this idea, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, which is this potential for exploitation. Even if we're embracing this idea of like personal agency and open cultural exchange,
right?
How do we ensure that it doesn't lead to the appropriation and commodification of marginalized cultures?
Right. That's a really important point, and it's something we need to be very mindful of.
Yeah.
I think the key here is intentionality.
Oh, good.
If we're approaching cultural exchange with a genuine desire to learn, understand, and connect, then we're less likely to fall into the trap of exploitation.
So it's not just about being like open-minded,
right?
But it's about being like self-aware,
and
respectful, and recognizing like the power dynamics that exist.
Yeah, and being mindful of how our actions might impact others.
It's like approaching these interactions with humility and a willingness to listen and learn.
Yeah, and being willing to have uncomfortable conversations and challenge our own biases.
Totally. It's not always going to be easy.
Right.
Or comfortable.
It's going to be messy sometimes.
Yeah. But if we're really committed to creating like a more inclusive and equitable world, then we need to be willing to engage in these difficult conversations.
Absolutely.
And confront our own blind spots and learn from each other.
Totally. And I think even if you don't agree with everything this YouTuber is saying, I think their video provides a valuable starting point for these conversations.
Yeah.
They're asking us to reconsider our assumptions, to think critically, to prioritize personal agency. Yeah. And those are all conversations worth having.
Absolutely. Well said. But before we wrap up this first part, I know you had one final thought you wanted to leave our listeners with.
I did.
And it was about the YouTuber's point about, the man whose image was used for the Washington Redskins logo.
Right.
And how his family actually wanted it to remain.
Yeah, that example really struck me because I think it highlights the importance of centering the voices of those most affected by these issues. Sometimes our good intentions can actually lead to actions that are counterproductive or even harmful.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And in this case, the decision to change the name, while well-intentioned, might have actually gone against the wishes of the very people it was meant to protect.
It's a good reminder that we need to be careful about assuming we know what's best for others.
Yeah. Be humble.
Yeah. Exactly. And be willing to learn from those who have lived experiences different from our own.
Absolutely.
That's a great note to end on for this part of our discussion, as we continue to explore this YouTuber's perspective on cultural appropriation. Let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Keep centering those marginalized voices.
Yeah, it's all about perspective and really listening
to
those who are most affected by
Totally.
it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome.
So we'll pick up this conversation in part 2 of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
Yeah. It's like we think we know what's best for other cultures.
Yeah, and I think that's where the YouTuber's emphasis on personal agency comes in, right?
Right.
They're not saying that we shouldn't care about cultural appropriation.
Right.
Or that we shouldn't be sensitive to the concerns of others.
Right.
But they're saying that, maybe we should focus on our own reactions and choices rather than trying to police the behavior of others.
Yeah, take responsibility for your own feelings and actions. Instead of getting caught up in the outrage or trying to control what other people do, we can focus on our own growth and development.
It's like they're saying, okay, maybe someone did something that I find insensitive.
Right.
But how am I going to choose to react to that?
Exactly.
Am I going to let it ruin my day? Or am I going to choose to educate myself, engage in dialogue, or just let it go and focus on something more positive?
Right.
It's recognizing that we have a choice.
Yeah. A powerful shift in perspective.
Totally. And I think that's like a really important message, especially in today's world, where it feels like everyone's offended by everything.
Oh, totally.
It's so easy to just get like caught up in that outrage cycle.
Yes.
And like lose sight of your own agency.
It's exhausting.
It is.
It's so divisive.
Yeah.
You know, this constant focus on what's offensive or inappropriate.
Yeah.
It just creates like a climate of fear and suspicion. And it makes it harder for people from different backgrounds to connect.
It's like we're all just like walking on eggshells, afraid to say or do the wrong thing.
Right.
And that doesn't like lead to genuine connection or understanding.
No, it doesn't. Right.
It shuts it down.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us back to the YouTubers' whole argument about the interconnectedness of cultures, right? They're not denying that there are like distinct cultures with their own traditions and values,
right?
But they are highlighting the fact that throughout history, cultures have always influenced each other.
Right. There's been a constant flow
yeah.
of ideas, beliefs, practices between different groups of people.
It's like a giant melting pot.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's such a good analogy. Like all these different ingredients are being added and mixed together.
Yeah.
Creating something new and unique.
And that's what makes it so fascinating, right?
Right.
It's constantly evolving and changing.
It's dynamic. Yeah. So like trying to freeze it in time or to like police its boundaries.
Right.
Just doesn't make sense.
You can't put a fence around culture.
Yeah.
It's fluid.
It's like trying to hold back the tide.
It's always moving and changing.
Exactly.
And that's a good thing.
It's what keeps it vibrant and alive.
Yeah, I love that.
But it's interesting, right? Because this idea of cultural fluidity, it can be controversial.
It can be.
Right. Some people, they worry that it like erases cultural differences or that it leads to the homogenization of cultures.
Like a blanding out of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are valid concerns.
Yeah.
And it's important to approach cultural exchange with sensitivity and respect.
Totally.
But I think what the YouTuber is saying is that like cultural fluidity doesn't have to be a threat to cultural diversity.
Yeah.
It can actually enhance it.
Right, because
when different cultures interact and exchange ideas, they can enrich and inspire each other and create something new and beautiful.
It's like adding spices to a dish.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
Each spice has its own unique flavor, but when they're combined in the right way, they create something even more delicious and complex.
Yeah, that's the beauty of cultural exchange.
Yeah.
It allows us to expand our horizons.
Yeah.
Learn new perspectives, appreciate the richness and diversity of human experience.
But how do we ensure that this cultural exchange happens in a way that is like respectful and equitable?
That's the question.
How do we avoid
or how do we not fall into the trap of appropriation?
Fall into the trap of appropriation and exploitation.
Yeah.
That's a good question. And I think the answer lies in intentionality.
I think so too.
Right.
Like if we approach cultural exchange with a genuine desire to learn and understand rather than to exploit or profit from it, then I think we're more likely to engage in a way that's respectful and beneficial for everyone involved.
Right. So it's not just about being open to other cultures.
Right.
But it's also about being mindful.
Mindful,
of the power dynamics that exist.
Yes. Recognizing that not all cultures have equal access to resources and platforms.
And being willing to.
And amplifying the voices of marginalized groups.
Making sure that their perspectives
making sure they're heard.
Are heard.
Yeah.
I think the YouTuber's arguing that true cultural exchange requires humility and respect.
Totally.
Right.
A willingness to listen and learn from those who are different from us.
And a commitment to like using our platforms and resources to create a more equitable and inclusive world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's a great I think message to keep in mind as we like navigate all these complexities. But before we move on to the final part, I kind of want to circle back to the YouTuber's concept of a victim mentality.
Yeah.
It's kind of a loaded term.
Yeah, it is. So I think it's important to kind of unpack.
Yeah, let's unpack it.
What they mean by that.
Yeah, for sure.
So how are they using the term?
Okay, well, I think victim mentality can be very controversial.
Yeah.
And it's often used to dismiss or invalidate people's experiences of oppression and injustice.
Right.
But I don't think that's what they're doing.
Okay, so how are they using it?
Okay, so I think they're referring to a mindset where someone feels powerless and helpless.
Okay.
And believes that they're constantly being victimized by external forces.
Okay.
And this mindset can be incredibly debilitating.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It can prevent people from taking action to improve their lives or to challenge injustice.
So it's not about denying that people experience oppression.
Right.
It's about recognizing
that we have a choice in how we respond to those experiences.
So we can choose to wallow.
We can wallow.
Or we can choose,
or we can reclaim our power.
Yeah, reclaim our power, our agency.
And focus on what we can control.
Yeah, focus on what you can control.
Yeah, not what we can't.
Right.
And I think that's like a really important message.
It is.
Especially for, marginalized groups who have historically been denied power.
Yeah, absolutely. Agency. It's about empowering people to take control of their own lives, to create positive change.
That's a really inspiring message.
It is.
And I think it's a great segue into the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Where we'll explore the YouTuber's call to action.
Yeah.
And how we can move beyond this cultural appropriation debate.
Right.
And create a more inclusive and equitable world.
Beautiful.
As we've been talking, I keep thinking back to that rice farmer hat example.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It just really highlights how we can assume offense for others.
Right, even when they might not feel offended.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, is this about the person being offended or about the culture?
Yeah, that's a good point. Are we just virtue signaling?
Right. And it goes back to the YouTuber's point about personal agency.
Are we just trying to control other people?
Instead of looking at ourselves.
Exactly.
So the YouTuber's call to action is to focus on self-improvement.
Okay.
Instead of getting caught up in the negativity.
Let's have a positive contribution.
Right. So it's like a message of empowerment.
Yeah. Take control.
Yeah, exactly. We have the power to choose.
We do.
So yeah, we're not passive bystanders.
We can shape the world around us.
We can embrace diversity and learn from each other.
With curiosity and humility.
So to wrap up this deep dive, how can we move beyond this debate?
Yeah, good question.
Are we approaching cultural exchange with a genuine desire to learn?
Are we being respectful and mindful?
Are we amplifying marginalized voices?
I think those are the questions we need to ask ourselves.
Yeah, and I think the answers will lead us to a more inclusive world.
A more understanding world.
Exactly.
We're going to be looking at something that people have been talking about forever.
Right.
How much do our personal experiences shape our political views?
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
And to kind of get into that, we're going to be looking at the story of Amala Ekpunobi.
Okay.
She's a conservative influencer, but she actually started on the other side of the political spectrum.
Interesting.
And we have some clip from a YouTube video from Aquarius Wave.
Okay.
Featuring Amala in his own commentary.
Okay, cool.
So this is going to be pretty interesting.
Sounds like it.
All right. So Amala was raised by a single mother.
Okay.
Super strong, independent woman who instilled in her, some pretty solid leftist values.
Makes sense.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
Her grandparents were diehard conservatives.
Wow.
You can imagine the dinner table conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Totally different perspectives.
Exactly. And so you can imagine this sort of internal tug of war. Yeah.
Now, on top of that, Amala didn't have a consistent father figure in her life.
Okay.
Which we know has a huge impact on, child development and everything.
Absolutely.
But what's fascinating is that she really points to a specific light bulb moment.
Okay.
That really kicked off this ideological shift.
Interesting. So what happened?
So tell me more.
Well, she was working at her mom's organization.
Okay.
And it was, super involved in leftist activism. Yeah. And one day she overhears some conversations that she perceived as blatantly racist towards white people.
Wow, that must have been jarring, especially given her own background as biracial.
Yeah, and she talks about feeling this deep internal conflict.
Yeah.
Like everything she'd been taught was suddenly being challenged.
Makes sense.
And then to make it even more complicated, she was told to just accept the anger and resentment.
Wow.
She was supposed to feel as a Black person, even if it didn't sit right with her. It's interesting. It raises the question, are we sometimes pressured to adopt certain feelings or beliefs just because of, our identity?
Exactly.
That's a really interesting point.
And instead of just blindly accepting this, Amala decided to seek out answers on her own.
For her.
And that's when she stumbles upon the works of Thomas Sowell.
Wait, Thomas Sowell, the economist?
Yeah.
Didn't he, wasn't he a Marxist at some point?
He was.
Yeah.
But then he later became a leading voice in Black conservative thought.
Yeah.
And what's so striking about Sowell's work is his emphasis on personal responsibility.
Okay.
And his critique of what he sees as a culture of victimhood.